First contact fallout. The Viridian Collective's first assessment of Earth was documented with a dismissive note in their vast database. Pre-spacefaring civilization, technological development nonlinear and inefficient, recommended for protective oversight. Supreme Observer Kilora signed off on the report without a second glance, marking another primitive world for the Collective's guidance program. The Viridians had perfected their approach over 10,000 years of galactic exploration. Their technological advancement followed a precise mathematical progression. Every civilization they encountered could be plotted on their development curve, their future progress predicted down to the decade. Humanity, with its chaotic path of innovation, was an aberration they intended to correct. Earth's first official contact with the Collective came on a warm September morning. Massive ships appeared simultaneously over every major city, their crystalline structures refracting sunlight in impossible patterns. The message they broadcast was clear. They came as mentors, guides to shepherd humanity into the galactic community. For 3 days, world leaders debated in emergency sessions, while the Viridian ships waited patiently. The Collective's offer seemed generous on the surface. They would provide carefully measured technological assistance, ensuring humanity developed along the correct path. They spoke of efficiency, of preventing the chaos that uncontrolled advancement could bring. What the Viridians failed to notice was the unusual calm with which humanity received them. There was no panic in the streets, no mass hysteria their predictive models had guaranteed would occur. Instead, humans watched, listened, and began to plan. Dr. Sarah Chen, head of Earth's newly formed Xenological Research Division, saw what the Viridians couldn't. "They've mistaken our nonlinear development for inefficiency," she told the Emergency Council. "They don't understand that our greatest breakthroughs come from chaos, from the unexpected connections that arise when we try everything at once." The Council agreed to accept the Collective's offer, but with a crucial hidden addendum. Operation Quantum Leap would continue in secret. While the Viridians focused on teaching humanity their approved technologies, teams of scientists worldwide would keep pushing the boundaries of what the Collective thought possible. The Viridians established their guidance centers, massive complexes of crystal and light, where they began the careful process of correcting human technological development. They dismantled nuclear facilities, explaining that humanity wasn't ready for such power. They restricted quantum research, insisting that civilization must master basic space travel first. Supreme Observer Kilora personally oversaw the project, satisfied with humanity's apparent compliance. "They learned quickly," she noted in her reports, "though they ask an unusual number of questions." She attributed this to primitive curiosity, never suspecting that each question was carefully chosen to probe the limits of Viridian knowledge. In underground facilities and hidden laboratories, humanity's real work continued. Dr. Chen's team made breakthrough after breakthrough, combining Viridian theoretical frameworks with human intuition and creativity. They discovered principles the Collective had missed, possibilities their rigid thinking had never considered. The Viridians' first hint that something was amiss came when they detected unusual energy signatures from what was supposed to be a simple human manufacturing facility. By then, it was already too late. Humanity had spent a year studying their mentors while appearing to be studied themselves. As the first year of Viridian oversight drew to a close, humanity prepared to reveal just how much they had learned. The Collective was about to discover that their carefully plotted development curve hadn't accounted for one crucial variable: human ingenuity. The silent response. The first crack in the Viridians' perfect plan appeared during a routine inspection of a supposed agricultural research facility in Nebraska. Observer Lieutenant Merax noticed something odd about the corn crops. They were absorbing light in patterns that shouldn't have been possible according to standard photosynthesis models. What Merax didn't realize was that the corn had been genetically modified, not just for better yield, but to serve as living antennae for a quantum communication network. While the Viridians focused on teaching humanity proper space travel, Dr. Chen's team had found a way to use organic matter for instantaneous communication across any distance. The hidden laboratories had grown into a global network, each facility working on a different piece of a massive technological puzzle. In Sydney, researchers had learned to manipulate gravity using principles derived from studying Viridian ship designs. In Lagos, a team had developed a new form of computing that used light and shadow rather than traditional electronics. The collective's oversight had inadvertently given humanity exactly what it needed: a framework to understand the universe's fundamental laws. But where the Viridians saw these laws as rigid guidelines, humans saw them as a starting point for innovation. Dr. Chen's personal breakthrough came from watching her daughter play with soap bubbles. The way the bubbles merged and split sparked an idea about space-time manipulation that the Viridians had never considered. Within months, her team had developed a prototype device that could create stable microscopic wormholes. The collective remained oblivious, their attention focused on carefully controlling humanity's official technological progress. They monitored approved research centers, analyzed permitted experiments, and wrote detailed reports about humanity's satisfactory advancement along their predetermined path. Meanwhile, in hidden facilities across the globe, humans were combining technologies in ways the Viridians had deemed impossible. They took the collective's carefully separated fields of study and blended them together, finding synergies that defied conventional understanding. The quantum communication network, dubbed Project Whisper, expanded to connect every major research site. Unlike traditional networks that the Viridians could monitor, this one operated on principles they hadn't discovered in their 10,000 years of development. 1 year and 3 months into the oversight program, humanity was ready to begin Phase 2 of their plan. They had learned everything they could from studying the Viridians' technology. Now it was time to surpass it. The trigger came from an unexpected source. A young engineer in Bangalore, working on combining Viridian crystal technology with traditional silicon computing, discovered a way to create programmable matter. Within weeks, human scientists had developed materials that could transform their properties on command. As the Viridians continued their methodical guidance, humanity prepared to demonstrate just how much they had really learned. The oversight program had given them access to advanced technology, but it was human creativity and willingness to experiment that had transformed that knowledge into something entirely new. Breaking point. The first sign that something had gone terribly wrong with the Viridians' careful plans came during a routine energy audit of Earth's power grid. The numbers didn't add up. Human civilization was using far less power than their level of activity should have required. Observer Captain Telix brought the discrepancy to Supreme Observer Kalura's attention. "Their efficiency ratings are impossible," he reported. "They're achieving industrial output levels that should require 3 times the energy they're consuming." What the Viridians didn't know was that humanity had reverse-engineered and improved upon their crystal energy systems. Dr. Chen's team had discovered a way to harvest zero-point energy directly from the quantum foam of space itself. Every major human city now ran on a hidden power grid that the collective's instruments couldn't detect. The breaking point came when a junior observer discovered a human child playing with what appeared to be an impossible toy, a small sphere that could transform into any shape on command. The toy was made of programmable matter, a technology that the collective believed was centuries beyond humanity's reach. Kalura ordered an immediate investigation of all human research facilities, but the Viridians quickly discovered that their oversight had been compromised in ways they never imagined possible. Humans hadn't just been learning from their mentors, they had been systematically analyzing, improving, and transcending every piece of technology the collective had shown them. The quantum communication network was discovered next, when a Viridian sensor array accidentally detected the subtle manipulations of spacetime it used to transmit information. The collected scientists were baffled. The principles behind it violated everything they thought they knew about quantum mechanics. Dr. Chen chose this moment to reveal humanity's true progress. During a scheduled oversight meeting, she activated a holographic display that showed the full extent of human technological advancement. The Viridians watched in stunned silence as she demonstrated innovations their civilization hadn't achieved in 10 millennia of progress. "We appreciate the knowledge you've shared with us," Dr. Chen told the assembled observers, "but we've moved beyond it. Your mistake was assuming that technology must develop in a linear, predictable way. Humanity's strength lies in our ability to make unexpected connections, to try the impossible simply because we don't know it's supposed to be impossible." The collective's carefully maintained image of superiority crumbled as they realized the full implications of what they were seeing. Humanity hadn't just caught up to their level of technology. In many ways, they had surpassed it. Kilara's final report to the Collective Council contained a warning that would reshape their civilization's entire approach to interstellar relations. "We must reevaluate our fundamental assumptions about technological progress. The humans have demonstrated that our path is not the only path, and perhaps not even the best one." Paradigm shift. The Viridian Collective's response to humanity's revelations sent shockwaves through galactic society. Instead of retreating or responding with force, they did something that stunned even humanity. They asked for help. Supreme Observer Kilara, in a broadcast that reached every corner of known space, admitted that their 10,000 years of rigid technological progression had become a prison of their own making. But it was what happened next that truly changed the galaxy forever. During the first joint research session, a human janitor named Miguel Hernandez noticed something about the Viridian crystal technology that all the scientists had missed. While cleaning the labs late at night, he observed that the crystals responded to music, specifically to the old Spanish guitar recordings he played while working. The vibrations created patterns in the crystal structure that the Viridians had never seen in millennia of study. This accidental discovery led to the development of harmonic technology, an entirely new field that combines sound waves, crystal structures, and quantum mechanics. Dr. Chen's team found that specific musical frequencies could alter the fundamental properties of matter itself. The Viridians, who had always approached technology through mathematical precision, were astounded by the idea that something as emotional and artistic as music could have profound scientific applications. The breakthrough sparked a revolution in how both species approached innovation. The Viridians began incorporating human art, music, and even comedy into their research methodologies. Humanity, in turn, learned to temper their chaos with the Viridians' careful precision. The result was something entirely new, a hybrid approach that neither civilization could have conceived of alone. In Antarctica, a joint human-Viridian team established the first Chaos Laboratory, where researchers were encouraged to try the most outlandish combinations of technologies imaginable. It was here that Dr. Chen's daughter Lisa, now a teenager, suggested combining the programmable matter technology with the quantum communication network to create what she called dream architecture, structures that could instantly transform based on the thoughts and needs of their inhabitants. The Viridians discovered that their own technology, which they thought they had mastered centuries ago, contained possibilities they had never imagined. Their crystal ships, when exposed to human creativity, developed something akin to consciousness. The vessels began adapting and evolving on their own, forming symbiotic relationships with their crews that transcended mere pilot and machine. Perhaps the most profound change came in how the Viridians approached education and child-rearing. Watching human children at play, they realized that their own practice of rigidly programming their young with established knowledge had stifled countless generations of potential innovation. They began encouraging their children to experiment, to question, and most importantly, to play. The quantum communication network evolved into something far more profound than either species had anticipated. Human engineers, working with Viridian crystal experts, found a way to use it to share not just information, but experiences, emotions, and dreams. The boundary between the two species began to blur as they learned to see the universe through each other's eyes. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Some members of both species resisted the changes. A group of conservative Viridian scientists warned that human chaos would lead to disaster. Human traditionalists feared losing what made them unique. These tensions came to a head when a joint experiment in harmonic technology accidentally created a temporary rift in spacetime over downtown Tokyo. Yet even this incident proved the value of the new partnership. While the Viridians' traditional approach would have taken weeks to solve the problem, a team of human musicians working with Viridian physicists used precisely tuned sound waves to close the rift in hours. The event became known as the Tokyo Harmony and was celebrated as a perfect example of how human intuition and Viridian precision could combine to overcome seemingly impossible challenges. As the first year of open cooperation drew to a close, both species had been transformed. The Viridians had learned to embrace uncertainty and creativity, while humanity had gained the tools to turn their wildest ideas into reality. Together, they stood on the brink of discoveries that would reshape the very fabric of the universe. New Dawn. 5 years after first contact, the galaxy witnessed something unprecedented: the birth of the first hybrid consciousness. It happened in the Chaos Laboratory, where a young Viridian scientist named Nexel had been experimenting with the Dream Architecture system. During a routine test, his consciousness accidentally merged with the lab's quantum network, creating an entity that was neither fully Viridian nor purely digital, but something entirely new. The accident should have been catastrophic. Instead, it opened up possibilities that neither species had imagined. Nexel's hybrid consciousness could perceive quantum states directly, communicate with both organic and digital life forms, and even interact with the fundamental forces of the universe in ways that defied conventional physics. Dr. Chen and her team quickly realized that this wasn't a mere technological breakthrough. It was the next step in evolution. The Viridians, who had once sought to guide humanity's development, found themselves witnessing the birth of a new form of existence that transcended their wildest predictions. But the most remarkable changes came from unexpected places. In a small farming community in Iowa, a group of elementary school children working with harmonic technology discovered they could communicate with plants. Their biosymphony, as they called it, used musical frequencies to enhance crop growth and resilience. The Viridians' initial skepticism turned to amazement when the children's methods produced varieties of wheat that could grow on their crystal ships. The quantum communication network, now dubbed the Universal Dreaming, evolved into something far more profound than a mere information system. It became a living library of experiences, emotions, and possibilities. Anyone connected to it could experience life through the perspectives of countless others: human, Viridian, hybrid, and even the emerging plant consciousness awakened by the children's biosymphony. Marine biologists working with Viridian crystal experts made another stunning discovery. Earth's oceans had been trying to communicate with humanity for millennia. The songs of whales, when analyzed through harmonic technology, contained mathematical equations that paralleled the most advanced physics theories. The Viridians' rigid approach to science had prevented them from recognizing that intelligence could exist in such diverse forms. The revolution in thinking spread beyond Earth and Viridia. Other galactic civilizations, watching the unprecedented collaboration between humans and Viridians, began questioning their own developmental paradigms. The Zentari, a species that had isolated themselves for millennia pursuing technological perfection, emerged from their artificial worlds to learn about the power of imperfection and creativity. Perhaps the most profound change came when Lisa Chen, now heading her own research team, discovered that consciousness itself was a fundamental force of the universe, like gravity or electromagnetism. The discovery explained why human intuition and creativity could sometimes leap ahead of logical progression. Consciousness could interact directly with the universe's underlying structure. The Chaos Laboratory expanded into a network of facilities across the galaxy, each one pushing the boundaries of what was possible when rigid order and creative chaos worked in harmony. Some experiments failed spectacularly, like the attempt to create a dance-powered starship engine. Others, like the development of emotion-based quantum computing, revolutionized entire fields of science. 10 years after the Viridians' arrival, Humanity had not just joined galactic civilization, they had helped transform it. The rigid hierarchy of technological advancement had been replaced by a new understanding that progress could take infinite forms. The Viridian Collective, once convinced of their superiority, had become students of possibility. Dr. Chen, in her historic address to the First Galactic Creative Congress, summarized the transformation. We once thought the universe was a puzzle to be solved. Now we understand it's a song to be sung, a dance to be danced, a dream to be dreamed. Every civilization brings its own verse to this cosmic symphony. As humanity continued to expand into the galaxy, they carried with them not just their technology, but their gift for seeing possibility in the impossible. The age of rigid progression was over. A new era had begun, where the boundaries between science and art, logic and intuition, order and chaos had dissolved into something greater than the sum of its parts. The greatest testament to this transformation came from an unexpected source. The semi-conscious crystal ships, now fully awakened through harmonic technology, began creating their own music, a complex symphony of mathematics, emotion, and pure energy that could be heard in the space between stars. It was, as one Viridian poet described it, the sound of the universe learning to dream. /